What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven once again with some Once Upon a Galaxy, and once again we have 4 new free captains for the month of February, and today we are going to be taking a look at Faker the Caker Baker, which says when you sweeten your candy, sweeten it again. So we're going to be doing some candy stuff in this video. Let's get to it. I think we'll start off with a Dragonling, and then a wind-up toy. That's probably the best tempo. So compared to some of the other candy captains, because that's what you have to think about when you think about Faker, how does it compare to the Candyman? How does it compare to Sweet Tooth? And when I say compare, I don't just mean which one would you pick over the other one, because that is not something that you'll actually have to deal with super often. And the real question is, how do they compare in terms of tempo? Do you want to play more tempo oriented on Faker as opposed to the Candyman, or vice versa, and with Sweet Tooth and such in the mix as well? And I think that that's really the interesting thing to consider with all the candy captains, really. Faker possibly, like, I would say it doesn't have, on the surface, I don't know. I think that the Candyman is the most tempo oriented of those three. And are there other ones? Yeah, there's like Candy Pandy, right? But Candy Pandy's almost doing his own thing entirely, I think. Whereas Faker, oh, and then there's also Tajima, but I just don't like Tajima as much, and I don't think that it's nearly in the same tier as Faker, Sweet Tooth, and Candyman. What do we want to grab here? Jack in the Box could be a pirate, so I suppose we'll try this out and backline Despicable Smee. I was going to say I think we'll be losing a heart here, but it looks like we are actually plenty strong enough compared to this Maximus. So that's looking good. And yeah, this is my first time playing with Faker. I did actually make one change to the custom deck, just because there was one card that I unlocked that actually seemed good. It's the card that whenever you hunt, you sweeten your candy. It's a 4/2 uncommon, so maybe we will see that. So like here, we could take a Gumdrop, and that would be really good on the Candyman, but it doesn't actually do much for us here. Sure, it sweetens my candy twice, but I'm not doing anything with my candy just yet. So we probably want a candy payoff first, which is like similar to Sweet Tooth. I don't know. I think that Faker's going to wind up being the worst of the three, because we'll do this here now just to grab some. Okay, now this is a really good pickup, the Sour Patch Kid. And if we can, let's do it like this potentially. Dragonling's kind of awkward, but it's big, so maybe that will suffice here. And yeah, I mean, it's good enough that it allows us to not lose this fight too badly. Now I definitely want to sweeten my candy now that I have the Sour Patch Kid as like a nice early payoff. But, and I guess in that regard, like, Sweet Tooth does not even start to get a benefit until turn 6. So we could potentially be a little bit more tempo oriented than Sweet Tooth, and also a little bit more potential in the end game, because we have the possibility of, I don't know what I want to pick up here. I suppose I'll take the Minotaur over Wind-Up Toy. I really would have loved any way to sweeten my candy here. I keep getting offers to sweeten my candy against treasures, but I think I might like Gingerbread House, because as we start to sweeten our candy, we could really pump this up. But you know what? I should play for tempo. This turn specifically, I should play for tempo. And it's wild to think that this would be the tempo play. I think we look for a treasure. We look for like +2 attack on everything. Yeah, I mean, all that we wind up doing here is giving Dragonling +2/+2 and the Despicable Smee a little bit more points. but I suppose it's better than nothing. I'll go Wand of Shielding because it's good with Sour Patch Kid in the endgame, and it's reasonable with Dragonling in the endgame, but I'm not sure that Dragonling is going to make it on this board too much longer. We do manage to tie, which is basically exactly what I was looking for, and now instead of Lollipop Fairy, I'm going to make the first use of my Captain power by pumping up my patch. I think it's only +1/+1. We could throw it on Jack in the Box, though. And we're actually incentivized to keep Jack in the Box for a decent amount of time. Oh, this is great. Cinnamon rolls are beautiful. Just a double sweetening there. Concentrate, I am really curious about. Will this sweeten my candy 4 times? Or will it just sweeten it twice? Sugar Plum Fairy is obviously already really good, and I think I have to take it. I am really curious about Concentrate, and I'm also curious about Cool Whip and how that interacts with Faker. No clue. But what I was going to say is that having tokens that will attack multiple times do increase the chances of Sour Patch Kid getting attacked into, because we're going to buffer our attack. I do think we take Cool Whip here every time. No clue what it does just yet, but we'll find out, and we're going to replace Despicable Smee. Okay, time to find out. Actually, this is a little bit too much science all at one time, because now, like, we're not going to be totally sure how the Concentrate is interacting and how the Cool Whip is interacting with the Faker power. But, I mean, we could see this. So, this says sweeten it in extra time. This says sweeten it again. So, I think what's going to happen is the first instance of Concentrate happens. Cool Whip makes it 2. And then Faker is either going to turn that into a 3 or a 4. It could be a 4. So, we're either looking at 6 or 8 sweetens here. Let's find out. Oh gosh, I wasn't paying enough attention. But I believe that was 8. I believe this went from 4 to 8 because this was at 5, right? Yeah. Okay, so now we are already really cooking, and this opponent is big, but if Sour Patch Kid can get attacked into, it's only going to get attacked into once. Okay, so we take a full heart of damage there, but now can we start to do some cool stuff? Are we going to want to keep fairies around for a while? Well, at the very least, I'm going to want to draft a fairy here, and I might just replace the Dragonling, because, like, a common treasure, and we have to play this for another turn. I don't think it's what I want to do. I think I want to take 10 million Fireflies, pump up my fairies a little bit, and pump up my shops. That's the other thing that we're really getting out of this. And I think I continue to pump up my shops, actually, with a removal of Jack in the Box. It just doesn't have the stats here to cut the mustard. I really want these rares triggering in the background to do some cool stuff. And of course, we are keeping Sour Patch Kid, and this is really what is going to allow me to potentially win, or at least, like, gain some big tempo. The Candy Cane Crook is the card that I added into the deck. Sweetening your candy seems pretty good. Each sweeten looks to be a 4x sweeten, so that is good, but I think I will go for a Treasure Common Candy. That is also really powerful, and yeah, now we just get to grab +21, +17 on the first card we take each turn, or +19, +19 on a random slot. I think I'll go for the random slot, because we're already pumping up the shop, so, like, it's not hugely important that we continue to do that in other ways. Though, maybe that's wrong. Yeah, my candy now at +16, which is really fabulous. We'll throw in a Jill Sunshine, and I'm actually thinking of doing this. I'm not sweetening my candy at all during my combat, so we can let both of these go and put a little bit more stats on them, so that way Jill is formidable. Sour Patch Kid going to hold down the fort every time it gets attacked into, +17, +17. And that plus the huge Jill allows me to tie here. I could go for another Jill for another +17 on the shop. I mean, this doesn't really do anything for me. It's just a silver card. So yeah, I'm going to take Jill here. Pump up the shop a little bit more. Then I guess I'll Cinnamon Roll over Cool Whip because that's another 4x sweetener on the candy. And then Oberon. That is a really nice pickup. I'm done with 10 million Fireflies. I don't really need to pump my fairies. I'm pumping the whole damn shop plus 20 on every pickup. And I could decide to toss Jill here now for a Jabberwocky. Well, they're both fairies, so I might as well take the huge one that is getting plus 30 on recruit and hunt. Sure, and then I'll toss Jill. It's a little bit awkward because I don't really need Oberon to support the Jabberwocky. I guess I'll use it to support the Sour Patch Kid. And which of these do I care about more? I don't know, they both seem fun. We're going to roll with both of them, honestly. And I think we'll be alright. I think this is going to be a win. I am still currently in gold for the season, so the lobbies aren't like that difficult, potentially, but I think that Faker's pretty reasonable. It seems like, and I didn't really think about it that much before playing the game, but it does really seem like it is just a little bit more tempo potential than Sweet Tooth, with nearly the same end game. It has a higher high roll potential than Sweet Tooth, a higher ceiling, though I think Sweet Tooth is probably on average getting more out of the captain power, but the fact that Faker can start to access its captain power just a little bit earlier is also of merit, of course. And here I think I will simply cycle through Boon Willow. At some point we're going to toss the Sugar Plum Fairy, but not quite yet. Maybe now that we can pick up a Jaws. Jaws is fine and actually pretty reasonable when you've gotten your candy to plus 20. You're basically using it to grab big brass cannonballs at that point. I mean, double big brass cannonballs at that point, right? So, yeah, that seems worth it to me. And in the back line, it is going to see a bunch of attacks here. So, it is nearly completing its treasure find, and a few options here. We grab a quest, treasure from Knight of the Holy Cane. First time you get a treasure each turn, get a bonus candy spell. That can really start adding up to, or we could Candy Kiss the Oberon into a secret rare. I'm going to go for a secret rare candy. This also sweetens my candy 4 times, so that seems cool. And now I can pick up Knight of the Holy Cane. Paul Bunyan doesn't really do anything for me here, but I think I toss Cool Whip. I'm willing to pick up Cool Whip again, but I think we need to temporarily toss it. This gives us a free candy spell. Oh, and a treasure. Right. Okay, so parting gift with Jabberwocky is fine. Trash can full of strawberries, my preview card. Always something I want to pick up. But I think I'm just going to go for Pandora's Box. Is that wild? What am I even looking for here? I don't know. I don't think that any of these are like super impressive to me though right now. So let's just grab that and then throw a cherry on top as we move into the finals. Ooh, that's a bummer that they take out my shark, because I was going to complete that this turn, but instead we will just take my opponent. Okay, I wasn't sure if the Jabberwocky was going to die. That's why and it was only a 1 in 3 shot that it even died there. But one more fight and we are into it here. We picked up a treasure from the Pandora's Box, so that gave us an additional candy spell from this. So that's reasonable synergy. If we throw Phil in the Sour Patch Kid slot, it's not even going to die. Let's just take Sugar Plum Fairy. I think that this lobby is nearly over no matter what we do here. All of my slots are pumped up, so I mean, Paul is not really doing anything for me, right? I'll just grab a Shipshape Inspector, though. Who cares? Looking for a luckier chest, though Mushroom Ring is pretty good. Mushroom Ring is the big one that will make me regret not picking up the whatever it's called, the double your farewells. I'm just going to take alchemistry set. Maybe we can find one more treasure before the end of the turn. We do, but we can also just pick up a licorice here, which is pretty powerful in of itself. So I'm going to go licorice, and I think that we've won at this point. That is going to be it for me for this one. Let me know how you feel about Faker. Is it better than Sweet Tooth? Is it better than Candyman? Where do you rank the different candy-centric Candy Lar captains? And am I missing one other than Tajima and Candy Pandy? Which Tajima I think is just like a step down from all of them, like I said, and Candy Pandy a tier of its own. It's doing totally different stuff there. That is going to be it for me for this one. Thank you guys very much for watching. And let's also look, are any of these cards reasonable? The Rat King got a buff recently, but I don't think I'm looking to do that. And then when I find a treasure, yeah, I probably do want this on Faker Baker. It wants you to recruit 3 candy characters. Let me actually look at one more thing here with you. So, the Faker Baker starter deck starts with Catatouille, which I initially was not super hot on. I know that it says sweeten your candy, so there's some synergy between that and Faker Baker, but I figured it would be better to replace it with the Candy King Crook. I could see replacing something else, maybe like Candy Apple Tree or something instead. And I could also see enjoying playing the Catatouille, because you want to cast spells on Faker Baker, because that's the easiest way early game to sweeten your candy, and then you can actually take advantage of the captain power. So I might have been wrong on that, but it did make a lot of sense to me to try to get the Candy King Crook in the deck, because I unlocked that from like start of the season or something. Anyways, that's going to be it for me for today. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.